Okay, welcome back. This is this week's podcast. We've got Darren, Andrew, James, and we've got a ringer in, and it's Coops this week. How are you? How are you all, guys?
All good.
Old.
All good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So just
That
back
was
to
the
talk
criteria, wasn't it?
football. Yeah, back to talk some football with some old people. I think it's pretty much standard that we start with Liverpool again, don't we? I think it's becoming the
No, we can't
Liverpool
turn it
podcast
into
this
we
week.
can't turn it into a Liverpool show.
We can,
No,
mate. With me and you. Me and you can.
yeah, we've got two resident Liverpool fans this week, so that helps. Coops, I'll tell you what, we'll start with you. So I want you to tell me what happened on Sunday.
I already knew Sunday we was going to lose, to be fair, mate. And it sounds a bit great. I'm not too bothered about losing. I knew we was going to lose after Tuesday. I don't think we had the legs on Tuesday, and then we didn't have the legs on Sunday. But me personally, I'm not really bothered about the Carabao Cup. I'm more bothered about the Premier League. I think for Newcastle, they just wanted it more, mate. I mean, funny, I didn't realise until I spoke to them it was 70 years since they had actually won a trophy. I couldn't believe that. I had to try and work back to work that out. And I think if you're that excited, you've not won a trophy for 70 years, then maybe the Carabao Cup's not the one to win. But I suppose it's a trophy. Maybe we just didn't want it as
Trophy,
much.
innit?
I think. Yeah, I don't think we wanted it as much. To be honest, it was Jules, wasn't it? They won all the battles, 50-50. They wanted more. Joe Linton cheered every tackle like it was a goal, and we just didn't turn up really, mate. To be honest, I don't
Um,
think.
do you lose that game if you have Klopp as your manager?
Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think it helps that. Well, maybe not so much with Klopp. Klopp might have rotated more. I think with Arnie Slot because he literally plays the same 11, 12, 13 players week in, week out. There's a limit in there as much as you can play on adrenaline and stuff like that. You've played that amount of games we played this season. Then Tuesday night to go to extra time. We were spent in extra time. We had nothing left in extra time. We were just hanging on for penalties. And then to carry on and then go and play again on Sunday. I think Merson said it, if we'd won on Tuesday, you get a bit of extra energy in the legs because you've got that like win factor, haven't you? So you're a bit. Whereas we were down in the dumps, you put all that effort in and got a bit like watching. You think I've spent all that time watching the game, got nothing out of it. It's a bit like you've played in it. You put all that effort in, gone to extra time, and then lost. You're a bit more demoralised, and then you take that into your next game. So part of that, mentally, physically, the same team. I think if he'd rotated it more, I think we'd have had more of a chance. I think, and there's players we
Yeah,
could have brought in.
I think so. I think for me, I didn't realise that he'd not rotated against Southampton in between the PSG games, which
It,
He
it,
openly said, didn't he? He openly said that we effectively had three cup finals.
that's
So
wild, though, isn't it?
it is wild. I agree with Cooks. Under Klopp, we would have probably rotated it more. But his comment was, we need to beat Southampton to maintain that 15-point gap. We need to
But
beat Paris Saint-Germain, no rocket science, and then we needed to beat Newcastle.
that's madness, though, really, when you think about it, because surely you'd think you'd rotate it. Because I'm not being funny. That cushion that you've got in in the Premier League, it's mental. It's not like I think if anything now you're going to derail it. If anything more now than you would have if you'd have rotated the squad and maybe not won the game, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, the rotation, I think that could possibly cost you everything. Do you not think?
takes that mentality into the next game. Done it. That's the thing. We've got Everton, haven't we? If we lose, the problem is Arsenal play Saturday. So if Arsenal beat Fulham, that makes it 9 points. Everton will be desperate to make us not win the league. So if they turn up, like I say, and then suddenly you've lost 3 games in a row, your mentality change, you start panicking. Can we lose it? People say can't lose that amount of games, but not being funny. Christmas Man City were top,
Mate,
and then everyone's like, "Oh, Man City will run away with it," and then they lost 8 out of whatever games it was. No one expected that. So
Back
it's
to
it's
Newcastle.
it's possible, isn't it?
Newcastle. They was 12 points clear, weren't they? And United won the league.
I think the crazy thing you got to think of as well, though, is obviously maintaining the run from below, for example, like Arsenal and everyone else like that they have to maintain their obviously thing. Because, like you say, if we slip, then obviously, Liverpool have that cushion. But for me, I feel like you probably would have been better off rotating against, like, say, Southampton, maybe winning the cup, seeing as you're out of, even if it's just a cup, it's a silverware of some sort. And then obviously the whole thing about PSG that's behind you. You've got the excitement now of actually, yeah, you've got a cup, even if it's big, small, Mickey Mouse, whatever. It's still silverware at the end of the day. And then you crack on, and then you go win the league. Now
I think Liverpool genuinely think the players thought they're going to win the league and thought they'd have a chance of Champions League. The likes of Salah and stuff were expecting to score all the way in the Champions League. And I think the Carabao Cup was just a bonus. I don't think anyone was really on their radar as such. I think it would have been a bonus to win that. I think once you've lost on Tuesday, it makes you want to win it more because, like you say, everyone wants a bit of silverware. But if we'd won on Tuesday and lost on Sunday, I don't think people have been as bothered because they're the two you want, aren't they? For me personally, I've seen Liverpool win the Champions League. I've seen us win the Carabao Cup numerous times. I only remember seeing us win the league once in 30 years. So for me, and before the start of the season, I was hoping top four. So the fact that, but even now, like with Daz, I don't ever say, "Oh, it's a given." It's not. I still think we need 15 points clear, 18 points clear. I don't think we'll win until I know that it's yeah. Because a couple of slip ups and then Arsenal come to our place. Do you know what I mean? It can make it really twitchy, sort of thing. I think we need to be done by Arsenal.
I think Liverpool are very lucky that it's been a pretty mediocre Premier League this year.
100%, yeah.
And it really,
yeah.
Is it that though, or is it just because? Like, you listen to Slot and he says if he was in the Dutch league, he's saying about the difference of you'd expected to beat X amount of teams. As in this league, he says you're just not. Do you know what I mean? Turn up and play Southampton. We could have lost to Southampton. There's nobody in the team. I mean, look at what Ipswich have done. Yeah, they're right down the bottom, but they've turned over Chelsea and various other teams. Do you know what I mean? No, there's no easy game, is there? No one turns up and goes, it's Liverpool, we'll roll over.
I personally just feel like it's like a Leicester season.
I was about to say that, Daz, as well, because it's like the case of Leicester was there for the taking.
Liverpool's the Leicester. All right, Liverpool's historically a bigger club than Leicester, but they are the ones they've had the momentum. They've had the team that wins the league is the most consistent team. Whether it's Man City being in the bump, Liverpool, Leicester. So the most consistent team wins the league. And that's what Liverpool have been. They've been consistent. But there is games as well. And they always say, it's the mentality monsters. And this Liverpool team always finds a way to win. Yeah, they've done that. So you can't argue the case. But I also believe and agree with you, Chris. Man City are right off the boil. Man United right off the boil. Spurs off the boil. Arsenal's had your little switch.
Chelsea.
Because of, Chelsea. You look at Chelsea next year. I thought at Christmas, I'll be honest with you, I thought Chelsea was going to be the biggest rivals for Liverpool. I honestly thought Chelsea would. But they've showed their naivety and their youth in dropping off the way they have. But next year, it's going to be, I say this every year, next year is going to be a right exciting year, but there's going to be teams, potentially Liverpool, when you look at all the players that are potentially going to leave, we could be right out of the top four next year, let alone winning it.
Yeah, it depends on the players you bring in and how you fit them in, doesn't it? But yeah, if we end up bringing 6 new players into the first team, you don't know how they're going to. But then at the same time, you bring those in like Liverpool like to. As soon as the transfer market opens, you get them in early and you get working with them, then you got a better chance, haven't you? But yeah, you don't know, do you?
It's an wholesale change, though, isn't it? Anyone with wholesale changes. It's.
I think when you look at that, you look at Chelsea and stuff. Look old Chelsea. It's like the whole Man United thing of like they've not really ever settled for like a manager that they're kind of at the moment. It's like kind of like in out, and there's that unsettledness with them. Obviously, they've got a good squad, but they're not working as there are some.
I saw a stat. Yesterday. It was not a stat. It was actually just somebody listed all the players they've got, including the ones who they've kind of signed pre-contract or signed and can't join till June or whenever. They have 95 players on their books.
Yeah. It's mental.
That's why Chelsea don't do very well, because how can you keep everybody happy? If you're signing people on 200k a week or whatever, and then saying that you're not playing. And also, like, you think when you do first team training and you've got your core players, and then like Liverpool will do it, won't they? They'll be coming for a cup match, so they'll bring a couple of the young lads in and they'll say, so-and-so's trained with the first team. Can you imagine if effectively you've got 35 first team players? How do you train with all them? You can't train them all, can you? So
Oh,
how are you
No.
going to keep them happy? You can't. How do you have your training sessions? Imagine doing a training session. You've got to do it with 35 blokes and talk tactics and stuff like that. You need a smaller amount, don't you, to do it? And I think they struggle with that. They can't involve them all. If you're not involved, then you're not interested.
Forest
So-
had the same problem with Cooper, didn't they? Forest signed all them players, and all
They did, yeah. But 11 new players, didn't they, when they came up?
like,
Yeah.
but, it went beyond the 11 players, didn't it? Because it was like,
I think it turned into about 23, didn't it? I think in the end,
Yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
like you say,
Just-
you've got 35, 40 players to try and squeeze into an 11-man team.
Not to deviate too much then from the Liverpool Newcastle game on Sunday. So, Andrew, I'll start with you because you've not said anything yet. You've been very quiet. So, what did Newcastle do?
What did Newcastle do?
They won, Andy, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they got after him. It's quite simple. They got after him,
Got in the faces, didn't they?
and I think I think I watched probably about half of it, and it was just you could feel the Newcastle crowd was pushing them on. You could feel it was like Coop said, it was the occasion. The occasion took them through. I think Eddie Howe outcoached Slot, and he found it. It could be Eddie Howe's maybe found a way of a bit of an Achilles heel for Slot,
Just
getting
on-
in amongst it, getting at them, getting amongst it, hitting them head on, punching them back. I think Liverpool have pretty had it. I think Liverpool have been quite lucky, but I think they've had it a little bit their own way. And I think Eddie Howe just went and punched him in the face.
I
on-
think he looked at PSG and played a very similar way.
Yeah,
The man for man, didn't he?
Salah's, we've had this conversation about Salah. Without Salah's goals, Liverpool have been nowhere.
Yeah.
So you stop the service to Salah, take Salah out of the game, which is what PSG did effectively, and what Newcastle did on Sunday. And as you quite rightly say, Andy, they was first to every first ball, every second ball, celebrated a good tackle, they were right up for it, and they pretty much bullied Liverpool out of the game, I felt.
but you've
The
done
thing
it.
with Eddie Howe, so just a thing that I heard yesterday was Eddie Howe actually had planned for this pre-PSG. So I think you played them, was it Tuesday night? And I think you won 2-0, didn't you? Did you beat them 2-0 about 3-4 weeks ago on a
When
Tuesday
we
night?
played Newcastle, yeah, we beat
when
them
you
2-0.
played, he beat 2-0. Well, he basically set up. He sat Isaac, and it came out that he was carrying a knock, and he wasn't. He basically set up to play completely different to how he wanted to play in the cup final,
Yeah.
and he basically. I think he played Gordon as a number 10, and he said basically, I had the plan that I was not going to show them anything that I wanted to do that I think would beat them. So I didn't. I said I kind of let that game slide, and we talked about it between us all, and we said, you know what, this is the way we're going to play, but it's going to be different to how we normally play and how we want to play in the cup final. So he kind of did a bit of a rope on him.
You're putting all your eggs in one basket bit there, though, because I'm sure Newcastle fans will want to be getting top 4, which is super tight. So to throw a game away, just
Yeah, but I think you look at how it worked.
Yeah, you look at
They
it
would.
now.
I think they would have.
now.
I think they would have took a trophy over top 4.
I agree. I was just going to say that, Andy. I agree with that totally.
Do you not think it's a bit much about talking about having a statue made for Eddie Howe, though, for winning the Carabao Cup? Bearing in mind, about 5 seasons ago, we had to beg people to put a proper team out because they refused to play their first team, and it literally just used to be until you got a place back in Europe for the Carabao Cup. No one played any interest.
No.
I think it was Mourinho, wasn't it? Jose Mourinho, who started making it.
A lot of them did, didn't they? Fergie, Mourinho, Liverpool, even themselves played the kids.
No, but it's then one of those managers suddenly started making it a cup and started bothering about it, and then it became that you got a place in Europe over it. But before,
Man United got a big fine. I don't know the fee. Man United got fined for it. You're not playing the first.
Yeah.
Well, Liverpool did it, but Liverpool, if you remember rightly, didn't Liverpool play a Premier League game on a Monday night and then played a They played a Carabao
We was
Cup
in, we
game
was
on the
in, was
Tuesday
in,
night.
was in the World Club Cup at one point. I think we had it then, didn't we, as well, where we
Yeah.
had to field a team, but we'd sent all of our team was away wherever playing in the World Club Cup, and then we had about 12 people left in England that had to go and play the Carabao Cup match, I
Thing
think.
is, if you're a Newcastle fan who's 65 years old and you've never seen your team win a cup, I think you're allowed to celebrate how you want to celebrate.
I get about celebrating it, but can you imagine in 20 years' time and someone says, "Oh, what's that?" You take your kid to watch Newcastle. Who's that? That's Eddie Howe. All right, what's he was manager? Yeah, what did he do? He won the Carabao Cup. Did he?
I think there'll be more trophies in the near future for them.
But then that's when you get a statue in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
can you have a statue?
I-
if he gets a statue now, you go, "Oh my God, he's the first person that's brought a trophy back in 70 years. It's amazing." But then, like say, nothing else happens. So 20 years later, what did he get a statue for? Well, he got to win the Carabao Cup. Well, what about so and so? Did he get a statue? No.
I want a statue for scoring that goal against Daz on that Monday night.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't really say a lot, you know. To be
It's
fair,
probably got this. It's probably got the same relevance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
The high,
Yeah,
like the best goal you've ever seen in Lincolnshire. I get it. It's
I scored an overhead
incredible.
volley as I scored an overhead volley as a centre back from outside the 18-yard box, mate, in front of my brother. That's the best goal I ever scored.
There's nobody on this podcast can
Vouch for that.
vouch
I'll bring
for
him
it,
in.
yeah, unfortunately.
I'll bring him in.
Well, unfortunately.
Can we fact check as we're online?
Yeah, we need to fact check. Yeah.
Who do we need to speak to?
Yeah,
Get him on
you
the
can
line.
be. You look like a fact checker, so it's
You mean a fact check?
fact checker. That's what you look like. So, but no, yeah. Do you know the big one for me? And I kind of want to get your take on it because you're all experienced footballers and coaches, right? And the biggest thing for me to come out of that game was
Not marking Dan Burn for 4 corners.
yeah. So not marking Dan Burn, right? So
you put the smallest guy in him as well.
So it's not that, right? Don't get me wrong. So they wouldn't have planned for it because they'd never done that corner before, right? So there's no way that they'd sat down and analysed it and kind of picked out who are you going to mark, who are you going to mark, who are you going to mark. Okay. So they'd not done that. So the first corner comes in, and I'm sure it was a little bit of a mess, and I'm sure you basically pick up someone because you kind of don't really understand what's happening and you don't know what they're kind of trying to do. And I get that. I'll give them a first one. But for me, the biggest, and we talked about it last week, if I was a coach or a player, so coach or player, right? And I've got Andrew, you were a centre half, Coops, you were a centre half, I was a centre half, right? If I didn't hear a centre half tell somebody to swap it round, move it, no, that's not right, that's wrong, that needs to change, we need to figure that out, that needs to be sorted, like Van Dijk should have gone.
First corner, you're right, Kurt, you're right.
But the first corner I'll give you because you don't expect it.
Big for
the
big.
Second corner, say again?
First corner, big for big. So
but the first corner, you kind of
but you got to think is when we played football, did you ever do zonal marking on a corner? Was it ever a thing?
No, I know, but there's got to be someone saying this is really wrong. Like we are going to get.
But even at half time, you would.
This is going to get. No, but they didn't even get. But they did 4 corners exactly the same, and they all worked. Even after 3, you'd want a player, not a coach. Take the coach out of it. The coach has stood 45 yards away. Like the coach can shout all he likes and do whatever, but there has to be a player who stands up and says, "Hey, this is wrong. Why aren't we sorting this?" Like at least something's got to change. Like,
are they not giving? And they maybe not given that. And then maybe not given that free reign.
But
because
that's
the thing is,
isn't it?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Which is strange, isn't it? Because Arnie Slot's a proper titivator, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? If something's not working, he changes it pretty quick. So, sat at home, we was watching that, and I kept saying, Dan Burn's going to score. Dan Burn's going to score. Can you see it coming? But then Slot argued his point, didn't he? That he lines up with his 5 players around the danger area, his big players, and then the other three pick up the men. So your McAllisters and whoever else, your Andy Robertsons and stuff like that, pick up the others. And his argument was that if you're that far out, the likelihood is you're not going to score. And it's so happened that Dan Burn did. So his theory for not changing it was probably we don't care. We don't. But he's probably thinking his mindset was he's won those first two headers, so 3 headers, but he hadn't scored. Don't get wrong. You can see how dangerous it was. Yeah. But he's thinking, well, he hasn't scored because that header's getting in, but then it's getting blocked by those 5 players in that area. And then the 4th one goes in.
Still a danger, though, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, Van Dijk would have come out second half. If it was me, honestly, I'm not being funny. If I was the coach, he wouldn't have come out second half. But I said, how the hell can you not take responsibility? Because that's what they did. They basically went, not my problem. Well,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's what zonal defence is, isn't it? That's the difference. Zonal defence is no responsibility. So for me, when I played centre back and the striker scores, the first thing you do is a bit finger point. You turn around and go, "Whose man was that?"
Yeah,
that was yours, Coops. Ah, shit, my man scored. So that's my fault because I'm not tight to him. Zonal defence, he scores. Whose man's that? Well, no one's really. No one's marking Dan Burns. So there's no, it's no responsibility. No responsibility, is there? It's not like it's a blame game. It's no responsibility because you don't have anyone to mark. But then at the same time, our players are quite
$400,000 a week, and he didn't take responsibility. He's your captain. He's your leader. He's everything. He's second biggest guy on the pitch. Probably the best header of the ball on the pitch. So he's probably. I would put him up against Dan Burns to beat him in the air, and you don't put your hand up and say, listen, I'll take. Because Newcastle will have said, listen, we're going to do this corner and we'll keep doing it until they stop it. And when they stop it, this is what we'll do. Liverpool never stopped it.
They would have looked. They would have looked and seen that. Yeah. Don't put it in. Don't put it on the keeper like what a lot of Arsenal corners are, and other people where they put it on the keeper. Like I say, just put it out to Dan Burn, knowing he's going to be picked up by a McAllister, a Robertson, someone small. Then you look when we was having corners, it was marking Van Dijk.
Yeah,
Dan Burn.
Yeah,
but that's it.
And he probably would have said in training, "I'll get him. It's fine."
You do that, when you play.
That's where Slot.
It's that height thing, though, isn't it?
Look, when if you boil it down, if you boil it down to when you played, and it's obviously levels, but we're talking sort of experiences. Is that when you give away a corner, and you go, all right, he's coming up, I'm having him, and then he's coming up, I'm having him, and then and you just as a centre half or as a defensively minded midfielder who think, if you're pretty good in the air or whatever, it's like
you go light for light, don't you? You organise it.
That's it. Exactly.
I'll pick him up there. I'm going to pick him up there. Make sure everyone else has got. You can. It's adult conversations.
You can allow the first one, because if they've spent all week or whatever talking about being zonal, all season about being zonal, and this is where Van Dijk stands, and this is what they do, then you understand that the other team get paid as well to do the same thing, right? The other team, they basically have world-class coaches as well who would have seen that Van Dijk doesn't move from the middle of the area, the middle of the 6-yard box or wherever he stood. And do you know what? We'll bypass him out. And we'll keep bypassing him out until they change it. And for him not to go, hey, listen, or even a goalie, like for me, we played with goalies. You've played with probably some really loud, mental head goalies. The goalie would have screamed at you. They'd have screamed at you to mark that player, to have sorted it out. They'd have figured it out for you. They'd have pointed. They'd have done that. The goalie for Skelly, Andrew, he'd have done that. He'd have organised it. You'd have organised it. We'd have had 4 people organising it.
I played with a few mental goalkeepers who were just literally before the corner's even taken, they're just screaming at you. Yeah,
you're talking.
I still go back and agree with Coops. It's down to Slot. It's not down to the player. Yes, you're right. They should have took responsibility on it. 100%. They should have took responsibility on the pitch. But if he's tactically saying, "I want this. This is what I want," you look at the man. You say, "Well, I was doing it as I was told."
But do you know what though? I'd rather go in at 0-0 and go, do you know what? And get him say, why did you change on that corner? And say, because if he hadn't, he'd have scored. Do you know, like I had to do it, or we were in the shit.
Well,
I would rather a player do that, because I'd stand next to him and go, he's right, because we can't, because it's completely wrong. We've not prepared for this. They've caught us out. Fair play to them, but we've sorted it. Don't worry about it. We've sorted it.
But
I would rather that from a player.
He scored, like Coop said. He's not bothered if he's winning the ball out there because he's not going to score because he's not.
But he scored.
But he did.
So,
but that's what I'm saying. You're right in what you're saying because he did.
So Slot was completely
you
wrong.
Don't know if they'd have swapped it over, they would have scored.
Listen, for me, that's.
But you'd be hooked.
I'd have hooked him.
No, you've gone and done that. I don't want you to do that.
Well, I'd have gone fine. Yeah. I'd have gone fine. And do you know what? I'd have told the press and said, "Oh, he hooked me because I took responsibility for that. So he hooked me."
No,
but they never talk out of turn, do they? Then look at the second. Look at the second half. If you look at the second half, we didn't change the tactic. We still did zonal, and they didn't score any corners. But the difference, I would say, is then was Quansah was on in a different position. Nunes was on, so suddenly you got a bit more height. Liverpool don't have, so maybe this is why he goes zonal. Liverpool don't have a lot of big headers of the ball. Unless you've got Canate and Van Dijk on, they're your only two headers of a football, really. Robertson's poor, Trent's poor, McAllister, he's all right, but he's got a bit of a jump on him. Jota, same bit of a jump on him, but not massive, is he? We don't have a lot of big players. So maybe he's gone zonal because he thinks, well, put Van Dijk on Dan Burn and I put Quansah on whomever, I don't know, Joe Linton. Joe Linton, you're still probably going to have another big player that's going to get, be marked by McAllister or something. So
for it to be done 4 times and it worked.
Yeah, it's strange. There's obviously a decision. I kept watching. I was saying the same thing. Just mark Dan Burn. Just mark Dan Burn. Yeah. Like Dad said, you could have marked Dan Burn. He could have beat Van Dijk to a header. It could have landed where Van Dijk stands on the 6-yard box, and that was McAllister instead. And he got overpowered by Joe Linton. He scored. So you don't know, do you? Don't know whether that would have been a different scenario. But these guys, like you say, they analyse these videos for hours and hours and hours and hours. So they would have looked at all these things and stuff like that. Slot likes to titivate at the time. He'll pull people off and stuff like that. So he's always looking at it. So you got to think he's not ignored it. He's just he's trusted in a system. He's just trusted in a system. I thought, he's probably even thought that Dan Burn header was a one-off. Just to trust the system, it's not going to happen again. If he scored again, the second one, then you'd have to say, your naivety. But even like their second goal, not being funny. If you put a decent ball in the box against Liverpool and you miss Van Dijk, you're going to score because we don't clear our lines. Robertson can't get a header in, and neither can. I mean, Murphy beat Robertson. Murphy's not massive, and it's a simple header down again. We're not. If you want to beat Liverpool, just do what Newcastle done: play the ball over the press and get balls into the box. As long as you miss Van Dijk out, because he'll always go and stand in that same position to cut a ball out. If you get him out of the way, you've got a decent chance because you get a run on the fullbacks, you'll win the header.
For me, I'm a big believer in players. I think it's players over plays, right? It's basically, I think a player has to stand up and say, "That's wrong. It's wrong." Like you do it at any point. Like it's wrong. We need to sort it out. It needs to be sorted out. Even after the first corner, you could talk to Slot and say, "It's wrong. Someone's got to figure it out, but come tell me what it is, but it's wrong." But this is what we were saying last week about robots, about Liverpool having 14 coaches.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anymore, does it? That doesn't happen anymore. So
they shouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's only gonna if it happens in the next. Who've Liverpool got next?
Everton.
They're good at them.
At the back post, isn't it?
Well, that's all they do. They just do the fake fouls.
So if it happens,
free kicks and hump it in.
So if it happens again, and they don't learn, then it starts to becoming.
We've done it.
For Everton,
We've done it. We've done it for the whole.
Probably do bits.
Yeah, we've done it for the whole season. It's not like that wasn't our corner tactic against Newcastle. We've played zonal defence. We played zonal defence under Klopp. It's not a new thing.
I think for me though, like you say, you know when you obviously said about players taking accountability. I mean, so you say you've got your skipper, that's your leader, right? So if he can clearly see from that first corner that something's not going right, like you say, Chris, you should say something. And bearing in mind, right, we was talking about all the technology and everything within leagues now. You look at the sidelines now when they're there. You've got them; they're all crowded around like 3 or 4 different screens, so they can clearly see what's happening and what they might need to work on. And as Van Dijk, I'm not being funny. I'm not. You know, he should say, right, do you know what? I'm going to take Burn, and I'm basically going to just be there with him because the reality, like you say, he's that threat. He's that aerial threat, and he's been an aerial threat for such a while. You think that take that away, and at least that gives you the opportunity to kind of not concede from that thing. And like you say, you learn once. They didn't learn once, and it carried on. That
could have been Newcastle's ploy, though. They might have had another tactic. They might have said, "We'll keep doing this for Dan Burn. Eventually, we'll be able to draw Van Dijk out." And they might have had another set piece to work on for if Van Dijk comes out of that area. Then they'll start putting it on top of Alisson. You don't know, do you?
I'd rather stop what's in front of me.
And they've gone in at half time. They've gone in at half time, and Van Dijk. They probably have gone in change room, and Van Dijk's gone. Look, no, that's not working, is it? And Slot's gone. I'm in charge. Trust the system. Trust the system. If they score, if you take that accountability away. So, like, if I was playing centre back and I'm like, and your manager, I'm going, Chris, just let me mark Dan Bird, mate. Just let me mark him. I'll stop him scoring. You go, Coops. I'm playing the system for a reason. You don't need to know why. I'm playing the system for a reason. Just stick with it. And I'll go, if he scores again, he'll go, he scores again. I'll take responsibility, mate, because I'm telling you to stand there. I go, right then, on your head then, Chris. I'll stand where you want me to stand. And then if he scored again, I'd be coming insane. So you don't know. He might have taken that accountability away from him, said.
I know, but isn't that ridiculous, though?
What's that saying? What's that saying in NFL? Something about X's and O's, not Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah. Jimmy's and Joe's, what you're saying,
though, but it's like yours and what James has just said. They've got all the screens on the side of the pitch, so they're all crowding around looking at it, and you can see him pointing out. But they're not going to say, right, what we need to do is bring Van Dijk out and put him on there. What their comment is, McAllister is positioned wrong. He should be a bit further around here to stop that block to do that. So their emphasis will still be on McAllister, not on Van Dijk coming out and marking him.
Because he trusted his system. Yeah.
Yes. McAllister should be stopping him. McAllister should be blocking that run. McAllister should just be getting in his ribs, and he's not. So the emphasis will be blaming McAllister, not for Van Dijk not coming out and marking him.
I would much rather, as a football fan, I would much rather see a player take responsibility for what's happening on the pitch than basically put their hands up and say, "This is what the coach is telling me to do." I don't care. I don't care because that's completely wrong, and they do care. Of course they do. But when
they're getting paid,
if they score a goal, it's not on me because the coach has told me to do that. I would much, that for me is so backwards.
Going away from Liverpool, right?
Yeah, this isn't a Liverpool thing. It's obviously just
I'm just going to give you an example here of what I know. Going away from Liverpool, Lee Frecklington's breaking through at Lincoln City under Keith Alexander. Okay, he played for Schofield in the reserves and the under-18s and all the rest of it. Schofield's taught him go for the ball, get the ball, let the ball go, move, get it again, pass, move, which is football, which is how Lee Frecklington played. He got put in the first team, and because he wouldn't hit the channels, he hooked him, took him off, dropped him, put him back on the bench, put him back on again. This is what I want you to do with it, Lee. Pick the ball up, put it in the channels. He used to call it Quality Street and Pall Mall. That was put it in them 2 channels. And that's all he wanted Lee Frecklington to do. Lee Frecklington played football. He wanted the ball. He'd pass and move. Hooked him, left him on the bench. He slowed his career down by not playing him because he wouldn't play how Keith Alexander wanted him to play. And that's what my point with it is. If you don't do what I tell you, you'll sit there.
I'll find somebody else that will, yeah. Might not be to the same ability as you, but I'll get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not. I kind of get that. I kind of get an overall tactic, but there has to be some sort of kind of
I get
But
what
following
maybe it's just done
following
at
the
a lower
flow of the
level. Maybe
game.
it's
You
just done
know?
at a lower level, Chris. But at the same
Yeah,
time, you've also got to say, so when you're saying about as a player, you should take responsibility over the manager stuff, and like Dad said, take it away from Liverpool. Can you name another scenario where another team where a player's been told to do something and he's gone, actually, nah, I'll do it this way, thanks, and been able to carry on? Because I
well,
don't think.
I'd tell you another scenario though. You I I believe in momentum. I think momentum's a thing. Like there's other people who don't believe in it, and that's fine. I think what you have, I think you can feel the way the game is going. You can feel when you're on top, when you're not on top, when you're winning the battles, when you're losing the battles. You can feel it. You know when things are working and when things aren't working. How many times you've been 1-0 up, 2-0 up, 2-1 up, whatever, and just said, "Hey, listen, just sit in for a minute. And listen, just give us 10 minutes and just you. I don't want you bobbing on. Just sit in for 5 minutes, right? And the guy in front of you or the right midfielder, just listen, don't bomb on, just sit in 5 minutes, just give us 5 minutes, let's just get a hold of the game, right? That must happen, especially at our level. That must have happened if you played 30 games a season, it must have happened 20 games, right? There must have been a conversation somewhere where, hey, listen, left back, I want you to tuck in slightly next to me, a little bit closer to me. Just those conversations happen throughout every football match that I think I've ever been involved in. And I
Yeah.
get that I'm not a professional, I understand that. But for me, that's understanding the flow of the game. The coach can't really feel that. The coach has got a pad of paper and out.
Set pieces are different, aren't they? Because they're trained and practiced so much, they're regimented that everybody knows what their job is.
Yeah, but if
So
somebody does
you're
something
there's a,
different to
yes,
what
it's
you
a bit of a
expect,
different. Yeah, it's a bit different. I know what you're saying. You do. You can tell when momentum's in a game and stuff like that. And even like if you're getting cat and stuff, and you go, don't just sit in for this corner. Don't go up. Don't go for this corner.
but
Let's
but are
just
you
let's
but are
not
you
commit.
telling me though? Are you telling me though, today's professional footballer, Liverpool, right? Today's professional footballer, are you telling me that Van Dijk can do that to, I don't know, McAllister? Sit in 5 minutes, just give me five, I just need you 5 minutes, just sit in.
He
Or
might do.
is
He
it
might not. He might do. He might not even know he's
no,
done it.
no, but is it but what you're saying is that's not what Slot wants. So because Slot doesn't want
No,
that,
I'm saying during the game, maybe that stuff does
well,
happen.
that's
But
exactly the same as this.
for things that are a bit more regimented, like a corner, a set
set pieces.
piece, or something like that, where you've got a specific role to play. Your role is you're the front of the 6 yard box, you're the middle of the 6 yard box. You pick up any short corners. Everyone's got a role, and then I think if you go out of that role, and then that's when you'd be picked up going, well, that's we've worked on that all day Wednesday. You know what your role is. Why have you changed from that? Well, because I didn't fancy it. I thought actually, like the Dan Burn thing, you think, well, Dan Burn's a threat, but then how far do you go where McAllister's like, oh, actually, Dan Burn's too big for me, so I'm going to go and stand over here instead because I think that's going to be a better position. And then Robbo's like, oh, McAllister's moved over there, so I'm going to go over here. Do you know what I mean? Everyone starts reacting to what everyone
No,
else is
but
doing,
yeah,
and
but for
nobody
it to
knows
be discussion
what's.
though,
Yeah, no one knows what's happening.
there's
So you've
got
got a
to be
corner.
a
You've got a corner. If that corner's coming in, they've all set up, and Van Dijk goes, hold on, McAllister. I'm going to do Dan Burn, and McAllister goes, well, where shall I go, mate? Well, do we like? Do we like?
yeah,
I'm going to take Dan
yeah, but
Burn.
it's not
Or
that though, is it?
shall I have
You
your
wouldn't
place on
do
the
that
six
though.
yard box? Well, no, don't go on the 6 yard box, McAllister, because you're too
You wouldn't
small
do.
there. Why don't you
You'd probably
swap
move
and get?
Canate out there. To be fair, you'd probably move Canate out there and put
Yeah,
Szoboszlai where Canate was, and you kind of move it around. It's like chess,
yeah.
right?
But I'm saying
Especially in
if everyone's
zonal.
got that set role and they know what it is, I don't think
I think
I don't know for definite, but for slot it might be a case of changing things isn't as simple as saying Van Dijk, you got Mark Dan Burn. There's more to it than that because it has a knock on effect on everyone else. But in that sense, then you could go in. So we've gone in at half time, haven't we? 1-0 down. He scored the last corner only before half time. So you could come out second half. You've got enough time at half time then to say, look, let's just spend a couple of minutes here and quickly change this corner around. It's not working. Second half, this is what we're going to do. But he already knew he was bringing them subs on. So he might have said, Van Dijk might have gone and gone, this is not working. And he'd gone, don't worry, Nunes is coming on in a minute. And Nunes will stand there and he's obviously a lot better in the
yeah,
air.
yeah.
You don't know, do you?
No, no, but you have to understand that even if we put it into any kind of situation, right, and we'll finish it on here because I think we've exhausted the point. But any situation, like if you're at work tomorrow and you need to get a task done and you do it one way and it goes wrong, then you do it one way and it goes wrong again, then you do it one way and it goes wrong again, then you do it one way and it goes wrong again, and your manager says, well, why do you keep doing it that way? Well, that's the way I've been taught. You don't
just like to persevere.
You don't think I'll change the way it's work. I'll change the way I'm doing it because it's not working. Like you would do something different, right?
Yeah,
What's it?
I get your point, Chris, but it didn't go wrong until that last header. It was working.
The whole crowd and the whole world,
but they haven't
could
scored.
see it was coming. It was coming though. They got a corner. They got a corner, and they cheered a corner as loud as they did a goal because you couldn't. Coops knew it was coming.
No, I appreciate what you're saying, but until that point, it hadn't failed because they had.
I'll tell you what you should do is have your left back play centre forward and not change it until they score. Well, that's what you should do.
Yeah,
he had scored, so he may as well play Robertson.
But they hadn't scored until that last header, so it was effectively the tactic was working.
I'm sorry. For me, I thought, and it isn't. Listen,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong in the fact that you could sense it was potentially coming, but it hadn't failed at that point, and that's what Slot will be looking at.
I think my whole point is going back to what we talked about last week, where people are being created as robots. They're not being created as footballers anymore. It's now, you look at Man City. Man City are the prime example, and they're the ones that everybody talks about, and you can talk about it. But it's now about how many passes you can make, how many touches, how many sideways passes, how long you can keep the ball for. It's not actually. You're basically playing Sabutio now, and you're basically watching Sabutio now, aren't you? You are controlling. Pep is controlling that player, and if you don't do what he wants, he'll swap you for another Sabutio piece because it's basically just doing what he wants you to do, not following the flow of the game, not understanding what the game is, and you look at it now, when it doesn't work, they're kind of void of ideas. Like they've not got that ability to adjust or to react or to, and that's going out of football now. But that's every level. And I'm not just talking about, it's not a Liverpool thing. But I think that's the problem with nowadays football is the lack of responsibility taken by players. It's all about the manager. It's the manager's fault. It's the manager's fault. Well, I'd look at players as much as I look at managers, really.
I agree.
So that's Liverpool. So there you go. So there's talk about Liverpool. I don't know how long we've been at it. Nearly half an hour talking about Liverpool. 2 hours. Yeah. It's probably too long. But no, it's the bigger point, isn't it? Of the kind of.
That's the most. I think Liverpool are the biggest talking point of the weekend. That's the thing. They're
I'm going to give you one now.
I think the biggest talking point of the weekend was Jordan Henderson being selected for the England squad.
Great character, though, isn't he? Great character, isn't he?
He's a winner.
He's a glue guy, isn't he? That's what he called him. When he called him a glue guy. A glue guy. That's problem with English football. There's your problem with English football. And that's why probably England will probably not win a trophy for a very long time. I think he's right there.
I think the crazy thing is Watkins doesn't have a shout. And I mean,
he's injured, isn't he?
No, he got dropped, didn't he? Because what's his face before he went to Saudi was playing better when he kept getting in the team, and then Watkins got dropped a little bit, and then he's come back in again now. Say again?
John Duran or something.
Yeah. And then he's sort of come back in again now, hasn't he? But Villa have gone out and bought a hell of a lot of attacking players, haven't they? So I think it's they've got Rashford, haven't they? They've got Asensio. They've got.
I'll tell you what, though, I think Rashford probably deserves a shout.
No.
What for?
I think he needs to get out of Man United, and I think he's looked all right.
Yeah, but where's the common factor? Funny, he's fell out with three managers, hasn't he? He's fell out with. So
but we're talking it from an England point of view, though. He's not good enough for England.
No,
just
No,
doesn't.
no, England managers, Southgate started doing a bit better, didn't he? Where he started picking players on form rather than name, and he was dipping into like lower teams because it was the last England game. The most players came from Crystal Palace, which is unheard of, isn't it? Because the England team used to be built at Man United and Liverpool. That was your England team. That's where all your players came from, and now I think they had 4 from Palace. And that's where you're dipping in and going and getting your players from. But that, to me, it should be who's. You know, we got team of the week and stuff like that. That they're your players, aren't they? Whereas people get picked because of their name rather than so and so's always in the England team. Well, why? He's been crap for the last
As a
3 weeks.
manager, you always have a player who you trust. You always have a player who will perform for you, and you trust in that player. To as an England manager, which is a massive scale compared to what we've done, but it's like I know if I pick Coops, he will not let me down. So I'm not going to pick that
Yeah,
player.
but this is his first squad. This isn't even. He's not even had the ability to kind of to gain that. Like you understand, Gareth Southgate probably picking Harry Kane when maybe he shouldn't have done because Harry
He wasn't
Kane.
quite, he wasn't quite fit, was he?
Yeah, it wasn't quite fit. But every time, really, Harry Kane's bailed him out of shit a little bit, and a little bit, and
Yeah.
But Tuchel hasn't even. It's not even for me. Like
He didn't have any loyalty. He ain't got any loyalty to anyone, has he?
No, you could have understood it if he'd have picked Mason Mount, like because he knows him and he managed him and he probably knows how good he is and he probably thinks, do you know what? It's somebody I know. It's somebody who understands how I want to play.
James.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, Reece James.
It's somebody who knows how I want to play. Somebody knows how I react to things and how I want things done and things like that. And they can kind of start to talk about that put that into the group. Rather than it being one voice, it becomes 2 or 3 or 4. I kind of get that. I would have understood that more. Jordan Henderson. I mean, come on, man. Like, we have to be better than Jordan Henderson. We have to be. We just have to be. I just don't. I just can't.
Who's missed the place for Jordan Henderson? Is
Wharton's out, isn't he? Wharton
I was going to say, is he?
Yeah. Wharton didn't
and
make
that's not from being unfit or anything. That's just didn't make the squad.
He's come back from injury. I think he came back from injury about a month ago. I think he's played like the last 4 weeks. Maybe not played a full 90 yet, but he's not far off. He's kind of building up to it, which you understand. But even then, I would rather a 20-year-old gain some experience from playing Albania than Jordan Henderson literally just taking up a space, right? He's not good enough. He's not. He just.
You might as well bring Calvin Phillips back in with him.
He wasn't good enough in the last World Cup. Like he wasn't good enough then.
His main attribute was always his work rate, wasn't it? His ability to get stuck in stuff. And as you get older and you start losing that, he was never been the most
gifted
flair type player, or he was his engine, wasn't it? That's what he was in there for and stuff like that. And as you get older, you don't have that as much, do you? But it's the players go around you, isn't it? It's different players, isn't it? He's not a Declan Rice, is he?
No, but when you were at Liverpool and he was driving Liverpool on, he wasn't the best player for Liverpool, but you can understand that he was driving them forward. He was the mentality side of it you can kind of get. But he's been out of that for 2 years now, isn't it? Like it's the second year, isn't it?
He left Liverpool. He left Liverpool because he wasn't going to be playing anymore, wasn't he? So you're on your downwards trajectory, aren't you? You're on your way out. So for him personally, once he dropped out of the England team, he probably never expected to be back. But then at the same time, as a player, where do you go with that as well? So if somebody came knocking, oh, Chris, we'll bring you in the England squad, and you're like, I'm not capable of that. Would you say, I really appreciate the offer, thanks very much, but I'm not going to be able to do a job. I can't. I'm sorry. Just count me out. Or do you go, oh, nice one, thanks very much. Yeah, I'll come.
I don't think he's like Chris said at the very beginning. I don't think he's been brought in to do an actual job, as in playing in the 11. He's been brought in.
But would you agree to that as a person though? Would you agree if someone said you basically go in as a mascot? You're going to go in
players like that for an England team. You're picking it for a club side, yeah, but a national side, you should have, like we've just been discussing, your best players are playing
On current form, yeah.
That you shouldn't be picking players to nurture a team. All you should do as an England manager is pick a team and then kind of stick to a tactic as such. But
if you want to take him out there to nurture people and stuff like that,
well,
I'm sure. No, listen, I'm sure there's a space on the plane. Do you know what I mean? To go as a coach as such, or do you know what I mean? Go out as that, not as part of the squad. Go out as Henderson's on the plane. He's in the squad. No, he's come out as like.
Bello took Beckham like that, didn't he? Remember was it to South Africa? He took Beckham
take him out just because he's got that positive influence on people and explain that's what your job is.
He's got 17 months, hasn't he? He's got 17 months in a job, and I just think it's highly questionable that you do not want. You've basically taken, and it isn't just one step back. We've gone back probably 4 steps by taking Henderson. You've gone back away from Trent and Declan Rice. It was Declan Rice and Mainu, Declan Rice and Gallagher, Declan Rice and Wharton. So that's 4 different parties. You've basically brushed them aside and said, no, Jordan Henderson's the best guy for the job. Maybe he won't start. Don't get me wrong, but if you were Adam Wharton, you'd be looking at going, I'm fucking better than Jordan Henderson right now. I'm 20 years old and I haven't won the league, and I get that, and he's had a better career than me, but he's 37 playing for Ajax in the Eredivisie. Wharton would be the best player in the Eredivisie right now. That's basically, it's pretty simple, and it's crazy. It's mad that he's in the squad. I just don't.
He might captain him in the first match, mate.
No, he's already said Kane's going to maintain that.
Oh, vice captain Henderson then.
Do you like watching England nowadays?
No.
I ain't got excited about England for a long time.
I watch England like I watch cricket now. I put it on as background, and then if there's a loud noise, I look at it. It's just there, isn't it?
When did that end?
You have it on, but you do other stuff at the same time, don't you? I don't wait to make a cup of tea. I don't panic about going out and getting a cup of tea.
I never know when it's on.
No, I don't rush. Yeah, normally I used to be.
There's a game on. They're playing on Friday, aren't they? So
no,
I don't even know.
Friday night. They're playing Friday night. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know.
Friday night on Channel 5.
You'll be at bongo bingos, Andy. You'll miss it.
Country night. Hey, it's country night coming up soon. We are.
Yeah, let's do it.
But for when for our generation then, because we're all similar generation. Dad's a little bit older than us, and Andrew's a little bit older as well. But when did that end? When did it end?
When your Beckhams and your Scholes went.
For me,
you think when they went?
Even before then, for me, because he was like, there was picking sides, and there was like trying to just two good players there, Beckhams and Scholes, but you're looking like getting Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard.
Well, Gerrard and Lampard couldn't play together, but they got picked every time because they didn't know what to do.
Sacrificing a player's position as such. Gerrard was playing more old inside because Lampard was scoring more goals or whatever, and then Scholes was out on the left, and it was like horses for courses, mate. If you've got 2 of your best players, drop the third. Put your left winger on the left wing, not Scholes on the left, just to give him just because he's so good he needs to be in the team. Or
when
even
they started calling
any of them.
When they started calling it the golden generation, I think I switched off.
There's no way. No. There's no way. Where were you when Argentina beat us in penalties in '98?
It was my birthday.
That's golden generation. Where were you?
I was pissed somewhere, but it was my birthday.
Yeah. Okay. So 2002 World Cup. Where did you watch the Brazil game?
I don't know. Where did I watch it?
You watch it walkabout with me at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's a really stupid time. No. Yeah, I was in a barrack block watching that.
Yeah, but you see, you're mixing the two up now, Chris. Because if you said to me we're up at 7:30 in the morning going to walkabout, I'd be there. whether it be
Yeah.
to watch England football team, England rugby that I haven't really got any interest at all in. But
No.
I can remember getting up at whatever stupid o'clock it was to watch the Rugby World Cup final, and I never watched a game of rugby in my life.
No.
Just the pub was open.
It was kind of. I think it kind of came when Oldham started on the slide. I know that sounds bad. The gap started getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Hughes, you're a ringer. If you want to come back on, you'll not say who again to Oldham Athletic. Thank you. I can kick you out very quickly.
What?
Who's had left the conversation?
You will respect proper football.
Yeah.
Got no fans. You shit.
But it just started to get. I think as you got older, it starts to get away with you, and the distance, the distance starts to get away. And the golden generation. Yes, every time England played, I was pissed. I was a kid, 1998, whatever. I was 20. And then obviously, you go through, but it does wane. It definitely wanes as you get older. And
I don't think that's because you've got more stuff going on. So say now you're at home with the family, and then England game comes on, and the kids are like, "Dad, can we have a kickabout in the garden?" And you're like, "Yeah, all right." Whereas before, when it's more interesting, you're like, "Nah, let's finish." It's a bit like it with Liverpool. When Liverpool's on, I'm watching it. Do you know what I mean?
but
And we all sit down, we try and watch it, we do stuff. But if the England game's on, you'll go and it won't keep me by the TV. Do you know what I mean?
But does it keep your kids on though? Like Cole or Nate? No, it doesn't. Xander won't watch. He won't. He don't watch.
But you also think that because you've got so many foreign players in your team, it's like even Troy, when Liverpool comes on, he's like, "Where's Van Dijk? Where's Van Dijk?"
Yeah.
And he finds him because he loves him. But then England's on, and they go, "Where's Van Dijk?" And I go, "Well, he's not English, is he? So he's not playing then." And I go, "No," because so when you're sitting down to watch England, even Nate sit down and watch England, who's that playing there? Wharton, who's he? He plays for Palace. All right, who's that? I don't know, so and so. Who does he play for? Because they know all your foreign players, don't they? That's what you say. We sit down and watch Liverpool. It's full of foreigners. So when you sit down and watch an England game, you're not seeing any of those players that you used to watching. You're seeing Cole, obviously, because he knows pretty much every player for every team and stuff. But the younger ones, so you're not invested in it, are you? Same as when we went to watch that Lincoln game. I took the boys to watch Lincoln because they don't watch it. Where I can go watch any football match. Do you know what I mean? I can watch Oldham with you, and I'd enjoy myself because I like watching football. They want to go. They want to watch. They want to watch the people that they know. So going to watch in Lincoln, you don't know any players. It's boring. They want to see Salah. They want to see.
When you were 13-ish, then what were we at? Graham Taylor's.
But it was more of a thing, wasn't it? Everyone had the flags on the car and stuff like that, and people would have time off, and you'd watch it, telly at work, and stuff like that.
You've got the internet, and you've got all those channels, all those streaming channels. I mean, we had 4 channels, and we were just getting Sky, and we just got Sky, so the coverage the coverage was a lot less back then.
Yeah.
Then you should,
It's like football. If you sit down to watch England, you think English. Everyone's going to the Premier League because it's the fastest football in it. Everyone presses. Everyone. As soon as we turn up an international, we turn into Spain, and we just pass it around backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. We don't play like an English team. We're a bit like the Jamaican. We're like the Jamaican bobsleigh team. We turn up and we try and do it like somebody else. So the Jamaicans turn up the bobsleigh, don't they? And they try and do it like the Germans with their Einstein drive. And then eventually they go, actually, let's just bobsleigh like Jamaicans. And we do it with England. We turn up and go, let's try and play like Spain. Yeah, let's try and play like Spain or somebody else. How about we just play like England? Just, move the ball about quickly. Get the ball moving. No, pass it backwards. Pass it to Pickford.
Is that the Premier League then killing it all?
Premier League's killing in the sense that there's too many foreign players in the league, but then that's what makes the league so exciting because you've got the best players in there, the best players in the world rather than the best players in England. But then when you turn up and they say watch England, it's boring, isn't it? It's not football. It's just what you're watching. Nothing happens.
Reckons he's going to set up and play the English way. That's
Who?
what I reckon.
Tuchel?
Good on. Yeah, good luck to him. He's got to fall on. He's got 18 months to fall on his sword. He'll soon get hung out to dry if it doesn't work. It should be the same. And
Just play
yeah,
pressing football. Play pressing football.
I mean, you look at that last tournament. They stunk.
Because we fluke our way there, don't we? Last minute goals and stuff like that. Play an awful game but win 1-0 or a penalty for Kane. And I'd rather lose 4-3. Do you know what I mean? And actually play some football. It's just boring. There's nobody watches it because it is. It's like you
The
can.
hope that kills you, boys. It's the hope that kills you.
No, that's left long
You
ago.
feel that it's hard because you feel that need to watch it as an English person. In fact, you feel that you should watch it, and I do, and I sit down and I will it to be good, and then it's crap, and then you think I've wasted an hour and a half of my day there, and I've got absolutely nothing fun. To be fair, I'm in a worse mood than when I watched it. And
Can I just say, James, as an Oldham fan, hope in football, there is zero. The only hope I have from watching Oldham is mild disappointment, not major disappointment. That's the thing.
at least you're invested you're invested in the players, aren't you? You know the players a bit more
Not Mike
personally.
Bond up, I'm not. We had that conversation last week. I'm
You-
not
you
invested
take-
in him.
You take your kids and stuff like that, so it's an event and stuff. And sometimes it's not, when it's stuff like that, it's not necessarily about, don't get me wrong, you're going to watch your team win, but the act of getting your football kits on and you're going out for the day as a family and going and doing stuff, that's part of it, innit? And you support your team, win, lose, or draw.
Have you ever
But
been?
England, you just
Have
detach
you ever been to
from
watch
England.
England? Have you ever been to watch England?
Yeah, I watched loads of games. We went with the school. We watched the England-Scotland game when Gazza scores that crazy goal and then sprays the water bottle in his face.
You went to that?
That's
Yeah.
not a bad game to go to.
Yeah.
Got me programmed for that, mate.
I went to the Wally with the Brolly, the Croatia game.
Claret.
Yeah, the Croatia game. Yeah.
I went to Wembley and saw Maradona against
Did you?
against Argentina. That was
I've not
Did
been.
you?
I've not been to New Wembley.
No, I am. That was before the Wembley got all knocked down and rebuilt.
Yeah, but maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we're a bit thingy with England as well, because we're so detached from it. You're not saying you're not
Sanitized, isn't
invested in it. You're not. Yeah, you're not invested in it as much. You're not.
Who were they
Thingy
playing?
shows.
Who were they playing on Friday?
It's Albania, I think, isn't it? Do you know what? It's gonna go out live on the internet, and I'm gonna be completely wrong. I'm gonna talk about Albania, but it won't be Albania. But
I had Latvia or Lithuania or something like that in my head.
They've got two. Have they got two?
If only we had phones to check it. I don't know.
But what I mean is like it's on.
You'd know, wouldn't you? You'd normally know, wouldn't you?
What's
Yeah.
that for?
It's Albania.
Okay, so it's Albania at home on
Yeah,
a
but we've all that-
on a Friday night.
Bongo bingo.
1945 kickoff.
Bongo bingos are normally Saturday, Coops. You know this.
That's why they moved the England game for your bongo bingo.
I've
just so they
been
could get
once.
you, just so they get you watching it.
My missus did the worm on stage at Bongo Bingo, and won a push bike. Just so you know, there you go. There's the story. And
I thought he was going to say a free beer, but a bike's a bit better.
No,
So who can go? So who can go to the England game? Who can go watch it? Who wants to go? And who would
Should we
actively
go and watch one, shall we?
go in to watch England Albania on a Friday night, living in the East Midlands or like
Exactly.
All the Albanians
Lincolnshire?
will be there.
I mean, how does that work?
I bet
Yeah,
there's
so
somebody
yeah, so
with a
imagine if you
cardboard
said
sign.
on here now, you said on here, boys, I'll drive, just chuck some petrol money in. It's 80 quid a pop each. Do you want to go and watch England Friday night? How many put their hand up? I wouldn't.
No. But there was somebody with a cardboard sign where there's scribbled on it in like it's taken about 3
Begging for a
seconds to
shirt.
do, saying Jordan Henderson, can I have your shirt? That's what there'll be. And it'll be.
Coops.
Is it oversaturated,
I
do you
will
think?
take that cardboard cut out.
Yeah, but you're a
You
knob.
can't. You can't write that
Get Tracy to write it for me.
Yeah, there you go.
in crayon.
Is it oversaturated though? Is it over like? Is there too much like now? Like this, like for me, I think, and especially being just a football fan. I hate international weekends. It's bored because there's no football on the
Cole
weekend.
says exactly that. It's the
Right.
first thing he says. I hate international. When's Liverpool back on? Why is it always 2 weeks? That's no football again this weekend, then, innit? And I go, yeah, because he will not sit down and watch the England game.
Oldham Halifax on Saturday. Coops.
Cole would rather sit down and watch Lincoln than watch England, and he doesn't follow Lincoln.
So Lincoln are home to Exeter, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, he'd rather watch that. To be
Oldham
fair, he'd
Halifax,
rather watch
James.
He'd rather watch any Premier League team play.
Oldham Halifax, not bothered about Lincoln.
James, are you doing that mid-links thing, or you using your season ticket?
Well, I don't know what's happened because I didn't quite understand. Somebody mentioned about it that they were going to do it, and then it's just died. But most of us have got season tickets anyway, because obviously with the with my under 8s, we all basically near enough sit with each other. So,
and also just to add, Cool Runnings is in my top 3 films.
It's a great film.
Just so
how about I draw a line down the middle of your head and it'll look like a butt?
Is that football related? I don't know. What's this?
I didn't want to do the accent though, Coops. So I didn't do the accent. Look, you did the accent, which was very good.
I see pride. I see power. I see a
badass
mother who don't take no shit of nobody.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't live there, man. That's Buckingham Palace.
Football podcasts that have Cool Runnings quotes. See, we're very different.
And also,
who's the one out of us lot that would kiss the lucky egg? That's the question.
That's your head or mine.
All of you got lucky eggs, and all of you can draw a line down your heads to make it look like a butt as well.
If I trim all this off and I keep all this, I could be like a Fabian Barthez or something, so you can kiss my lucky head.
Having a fag in the changing room, wasn't he? That's what he used to smoke, didn't he? Fabian Barthez. Yeah.
Definitely not smoking, but obviously if it just
he used to have a cigarette in the changing room, didn't he? Same as John Robertson. That was John Robertson. Cloughy used to say, why do you let him smoke? And he was like, do you know how bad he would be if he didn't have a fag before the game and at half time? He would be so concerned with having a cigarette that it would put him off his game. So just let
Ashley Cole was one of the biggest smokers, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah, when he cheated on Cheryl with that lass, she said she couldn't believe how much he smoked. He was like a proper nervous, angsty type guy.
Allegedly. I know a story about Ashley Cole, but I can't tell you online.
I've got a story about a local lad who played football for.
Is it called Ashley Cole?
Yeah. He played for Grantham Town, and it was Martin O'Neill who was manager at the time. And who you just said, the other guy who smokes,
John Robertson.
John Robertson was his assistant, and Tony came out, lit a fag.
Said his name, Tony what?
Tony Swain. he lit a fag up, and Martin O'Neill, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Put that out. What are you doing? And he looked. He went, well, he's smoking. And he went, yeah, and he's won 2 European Cups. What are you won?
Yeah, that's it.
Needless to say, he
had he not won the Carabao Cup?
Never picked him again after.
I remember rocking up on a Sunday playing when I used to play football. Sunday, we had a lad called Baz up front.
I reckon my Ron Eaglen Cup's equal to a Carabao Cup.
What was your best? I'm guessing you probably all won a cup, I would assume. What was your best? Sorry, James. What was your best cup win? What was your best cup win?
Best cup win was against Botsford. Was 2-0 down in the quarterfinals and come back and won 3-2.
Yeah, the quarterfinals of
County Cup.
County Cup. Don't have to be a winner of it, like win the cup, James. But what was your best cup win? Go on, and Andrew, what was yours?
Kelly Reid Cup final, 1998 or 97. I was about 18, I think, at the time. Yeah, that was ace. It was ace. First ever adults cup final. It was, beat Greenbank. Beat Greenbank 2-0, I think. It's on YouTube somewhere.
In black and white.
Grainy.
Yeah, grainy. Yeah.
Converted from VHS.
Go on then. What was yours, Coops?
I honestly can't remember, mate.
There were
I
that
genuinely
many.
I'm
No.
really pleased you came on the podcast to tell your story.
No, I can't remember. One thing I do remember though, which
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you remember, totally changing the subject. Did you used to get the Sports Echo on a Sunday? It was like
Yeah.
on a green paper.
Yeah, it was a Friday. It was a Friday. Sorry,
Saturday night?
Saturday
Is
evening.
that still a thing?
No.
It's
papers
not
up.
now. Do you want to hear a good story about the green one?
Yeah, go on then.
I used to deliver it.
Arrow, lad.
Uphill on
No.
bike.
I got a 3-month ban and a £57 fine because of the Sports Echo.
Because of the Sports Echo.
Yeah.
You
You
weren't
didn't try and
signed
do your
on.
own page. You did do
We
your
got
own
that
page
far.
free, did you?
Say again.
You didn't try and do your own page free, did you?
Kind of. Yeah, I had my dick hanging out my shorts.
Oh,
Is that
did you?
Pardon?
Is that real?
That's real. Yeah, I had my dick hanging out my shorts.
Were they
And
Can't help that, mate.
down to your knee? Those shorts, I know.
I didn't realise the railway was sponsored by Ron Hill.
I did it on purpose, obviously, for the crack. And obviously do you remember that guy who used to go around taking pictures of everybody every week?
Yeah.
He took it back and he said to the editor, the editor was like, fucking hell, can't put that in. About 2 weeks later, the editor went on holiday, so one of the lads banged it in. And it went to Soho. The Links FA sent it to Soho because they're like, what do we do with this? And Soho sent it back, said, do what you seem fit. We've never had a situation like this before. But
Can they just shade it out, a bit of shadowing?
it actually went in the Echo, and I got fucking yeah.
What a story that is.
Have you got a cut out of it in a frame in your
I had
downstairs
it
toilet?
I ain't got it anymore. I had it somewhere for ages, but I ain't got it anymore. But yeah, I got £57 fine and 3-month ban.
What was did anybody else have any long bans?
Never been banned, never been booked.
Yeah, I got a big one.
Says more about you, James, than anything that you'd never been booked in Sunday League. Never been booked.
It should have been set off in Worksop because I actually took a drinking on a Saturday and just turn up absolutely hammered on a Sunday because I never really I wasn't driving there, no. So we played a team, and obviously the good thing is Worksop's obviously not exactly the greatest elite. Or there.
Yeah.
I was just listening to what you
So long story short, rocked up, and this, you know, when you get a kid that rocks up who's just basically there just to fill a space, not really, no talent.
Oh, this is one of them stories where we get to the end and you said that little boy was you.
No.
I was going to say we have that on a Monday night, James.
All right, calm down. So anyway, long story short, he basically got lucky and slapped the Megs on me, and it made it even worse the fact that he shouted Megs. So in a fit of rage, I turned around and I don't know why. Well, it probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I basically 2-footed in from behind. And by that point, I was walking off, and we didn't actually have a referee as such. So the guy came over, he said, "Mate, can you just calm down a minute?" So the next minute, obviously, it turns into a massive. Everyone's gobbing off this, that, and the other. And then about 15 minutes later, I ran down the other end and scored the winner. And that did not go down very well.
And you weren't booked?
Never booked.
Come on in, Coops.
I got bookings that weren't even for me. I think my face just got me bookings sometimes. I didn't have to say anything. I got booked once.
That, to be fair. I
was playing a game for the RAF once, and the guy refereeing was called Private Johnson. That's how he said it. Well, Private Johnson. And one of my mates noticed that he had like a really manly body, but he had a head of a baby. It was like this. So he started calling him Baby Head. He was going, baby head, every time he was doing something. And then something happened, and then he turned around and looked at me and went, I know what you keep calling me. I said, what? He said, keep calling me baby head. I said, well, it's not me, mate. So he booked me, he had a card. I said, why are you booking me for? He said, because when I turned round, you had your mouth open. I said, well, yeah, I did have my mouth open because I was fucking breathing.
That's why. Tough moments.
It's like, don't just booking don't like your face.
I dodged one, James. Andrew played out somewhere in the stick somewhere, and it was the last game of the season, and I went to watch. and they said, "Oh, we've only got 10. Do you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I played right back, right? So I played right back, and I think they had a centre forward in goal, and I played right back. And just before half time, I clashed knees with somebody. You know, it's sickening, isn't it, when you clash knees with somebody?
That clack, isn't it? You're like, ugh.
It's just horrendous. It's the worst pain ever. You don't actually do anything. It's not like you're not injured, but it is the worst pain ever when you clash like inside a knee to inside a knee. It's horrendous. So did that just for half time, and I said at half time, I said, "Listen, I'm gonna have to go in goal. I'll swap with this lad." So I went in goal at half time, and I don't know, I don't remember what the score was. It was like a nothing game. It meant nothing, and they brought a striker on with about 20 minutes to go. This ginger-haired lad up front, and they put a ball down the channel. So I'm pretty much dicking about at this point. I'm not taking it too seriously. So the ball's bouncing down this channel, and there's a centre forward running towards me. So as he comes towards me, I basically dink it over his head and go round to get the other side of it. So I dink it over his head, and as I dinked it over his head, but this centre forward who I've just kind of run round basically clips my heels, like tries to leg me up. So I see complete red because this guy's like tried to trip me up, and this ginger kid who must have been on the pitch for about 2 minutes is basically running towards me, and the ball's bouncing, and I've launched 2 foot, like 2 foot. Andrew saw it, so he can vouch. It was possibly the worst thing I could have ever done. It was virtually GBH. No idea why. Absolute. In my young days when I was a bit hot-headed, not so hot-headed now.
Was you signed on for the team then?
No, wasn't signed on. No, 2-footed this lad, completely like straight leg, like absolutely nailed this bloke.
Here's one for you, right?
And he got taken off. Wait, I'm not finished. Wait, he got taken off. This guy got like once stretchered off, hobbled off. The ref come up to me and said, "Listen, it's a sending off." And I was like, "Okay." And he went, "It's the last game of the season, so can't really be bothered to do the paperwork. So just get back in goal and carry on." So just okay, ref, no problem, and just walk back into goal. And it's one of those. You just look back and think, "What was I doing?"
Yeah.
What was I doing?
Because that 2-footed one I did was really shocking because I was like at the back of the knees. I was flying through the air and it was a shocker.
Yeah,
so that's why I literally basically, as soon as I got up, I just thought, right, okay, so I'm taking my shirt off and I'm walking off. And everyone's like, "What are you doing, mate? What are you doing?" I was like, "There's no way that I'm getting away with that." And then the blokes went, "Oh, no, just take it easy. Just take it easy, guys." I was like, "Okay, I'll take that." But
boys, I'm gonna have to bail out, boys.
All right, Coops. No worries, mate.
Try not to miss
me. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
That's soon. Right, mate. Anytime.
Take care.
Catch you later. Bye.
Bye.
Talking of like playing games not signed on. So I used to play quite a lot of football, like midweeks. And we played with a lad called Joel. And so when I played in the Gainsborough League, sort of for Grove Mill, so Joel was like, "Oh, fancy playing." Played with his brother Pete, good player. Anyway, so we said, "All right, we'll give you a go, Joel." And we were short. I think he basically was like our sub, just one sub. So the game's gone on at Haxley. We're winning 1-0. I've scored an header. And then the great thing is then Joel's like, "Right, come on." So then Joel, I think, went wing. And we had a lad, basically we said, "Right," said, "just remember your name. You know the kid. You knew Ben Matthews." So I said, "Right, you're going to go with Ben Matthews. Don't do anything stupid." The famous last words. Anyway, so Joel comes on and he goes on his run down the right, gets tackled. So next minute, as he's running back, Joel out of nowhere just absolutely busts this guy, and it's like, "Oh shit!" So he's shit, and the referee's blowing his whistle, comes running over. It's like, "Oh mate." So you think. So I'm walking over saying, "Joel, it's okay, keep your head. Just remember Ben Matthews." So yeah. Anyway, so he's talking to the ref, and he says, so the ref gets his book out. He says, "What's your name?" And he goes, he's like, went blank. And it's like, "Mate, seriously, just what you got to say is Ben Matthews." So he says, "What's your name, please?" He says, "Can't think of your own name." And so we used to nickname Ben Bernard. So lo and behold, he's given the name Bernard. And he went, Bernard what? And he went, Matthews. The referee has dropped his notepad. He says, are you taking the piss? And then Joel's face has just dropped. And I turn around, it's like, I can't believe he's done this. So next minute, you've got players walking away thinking, why the fuck's he done that? So he said, what's your real name, player? He went, Joel. And it's like, oh, fucking hell. And it's like, mate, what are you doing? So basically, he wasn't going to get signed on. So we had to rush back to the club, put the paperwork through that day. So we had to sign him on that day. So we didn't, so he could obviously pay the fee. It was ridiculous. It's just like with Bernard Matthews, and the ref just went, you're taking the piss.
It could have been worse. He could have given Bernard Manning, couldn't he?
My uncle, he was a bit of an animal, a bit of an horrible bastard when he played, and he was always good with his head, and he went whatever his head had gone, and he stuck the nut off on this player, and he was the same. He was playing under an alias. He was ineligible to play. And when the referee come here, what's your name? He said fucking Noddy and walked off. He didn't even give a name. He just said Noddy because he wanted someone.
Yeah. Well, it's we've had some ringers. I think we'll save those stories for another day. Was his name Pascal, Andrew? That's probably the best one, right? Like we'll save that for another day. What I didn't ask Coops for what boots he wore. Next time Coops is on, I'll ask him what boots he wore because I think that's always an interesting one.
Let's have a guess.
Okay,
I bet Coops is a copper.
Umbros or
what
I bet he's like you. I bet you're like you, Andy. I reckon
copper Mondials. Kaisers maybe. Yeah. I think
I'm going with goalless specials.
They're your favourites, aren't they? The blue ones.
Yeah.
No, but we'll wrap it up there. So thank you all for your time. I'll say it again. Andrew, do you want to say it this week?
No. No. You're leading.
You got to do it right though. You got to do it right.
It's your party.
Like up here and then subscribe down here.
Is that what? I don't even know. Like so if you want to
if you want to like, subscribe,
that would be fantastic. I know we did get
James is doing it. Can I just say as well, if you want to leave a comment, if anyone wants to leave a comment, potentially we might spend 2 or 3 minutes debating whatever comment is left, just to involve.
Give us a topic. That's it. Wild card. Give us a topic. Give a wild card moment.
Yeah. Well, the other one. What was the one before? The top one comment talked about. We talked about a good striker, but not a good footballer. Haaland.
Yeah.
Which is probably the problem. Like we put in the comment back, we replied, I'm still 100% sure whether he's a good footballer or not. Like, I don't think he the way Man City play, like the striker's nearly redundant. To be fair, it's like it's like a power play when a striker gets a shot off for Man City. So I'm still not sure whether if he's good with his feet, if he's good. Do you know? I don't think I ain't seen enough of it really.
We're kind of agreeing with him. Then he is a bit of a lump.
Yeah, but I just like it's one of those. Like I'm not seeing enough opportunity for him to either confirm or deny it. I think is probably the best way. He just scores a goal. Like, it's crazy, really. Yeah. His numbers are crazy. Just on Haaland, just very quickly before we finish, did you see that he's the fastest player to 100 goals and assists in the Premier League? Did you see that? When did fucking assists become a thing? Like, when did that become a thing?
Hey, mate, we had this debate about stats. What are stats?
But what is an assist? Like, what was it? Somebody said, was it Postecoglou said, you could have someone pay a 70-yard absolute killer ball into somebody. It hits somebody on the arse, fall to the striker who puts it in, and that player who's got it on the arse gets the assist. And it's like, yeah, it's probably true, right? What the fuck? Like, just making up stats now, just to.
What about a pre-assist?
Maybe that's
where
the new
did that
thing,
come
Andy.
from?
The
Maybe
pre-assist.
that's the new thing, the pre-assist.
The pre-assist.
Who needs
Yeah.
the assist? It's all about the pre-assist.
Yeah,
The
it's
other,
like
the other
like-
Sounds like
comment
some kind of
about,
futuristic car.
how
no, it sounds
Allison-
like a pre-op. That's what it
how
sounds
good
like.
Allison was. The other
Sorry,
comment
it does.
was about how good Allison was in the first game against Paris Saint-Germain. And I think,
Yeah, I tell you what, we probably should spend more time on Liverpool at this point.
no,
I reckon that's
didn't wanna
genuine.
do Liverpool
I reckon that's
tonight. I
genuine.
didn't want to do Liverpool tonight. I don't want to make it all about that. I wanted
No,
to.
and it won't be moving forward. Obviously, Liverpool are probably the most relevant for the two podcasts that we've done, with the cup final and
Well, that's it. You've got to
and
be
the
like PSG Cup final and a fluff.
yeah. But obviously next week we'll have the England Albania game to talk about.
Yeah, and
which will
also,
be fantastic.
if Joel wants to get in touch with regards to his sending off, he can.
Or Bernard Matthews or what?
Bernard Matthews.
He wasn't sent off. It was a yellow card. He got a yellow card.
It was a
He
yellow.
wasn't sent off.
No, yellow card. Sorry. But if the ginger-haired lad who played, I can't remember, was it Eagle?
South Clifton.
South Clifton. The ginger-haired lad who came on, who played for South Clifton, in about 2003. Then
Chris sends his apologies.
I send my apologies. If you want to get in touch and call me a friend, you can.
I know a couple of lads who played for South Clifton, so I'll try and do a bit of research.
If you've got the photo of Daz with his dick out as well, please feel free to attach it.
Please, I will make it. I will make it the start of this podcast.
You may need to zoom it out.
Wide lens it.
Yeah, that's the joys of phones now. Quick zoom.
Quick zoom. That's it. But yeah, if anybody wants to get in contact and gives us anything to talk about, if anybody's, and realistically, if there's any of you guys that, if you think that if there's anybody who you think, would want to come on and talk about their experiences and stuff like that, I'm more than happy for people to come on and kind of join in. It's not, this is for people to talk about football. This isn't for my opinion to be out there. I'll happily sit in silence. Coops maybe not. Coops loves a chat, but we will get more people on and stuff. But no, appreciate it, and it's really good, and we appreciate some of the feedback we've got as well. So thank you for that. And I think somebody's just. I think there's a spirit in my house, maybe.
Nice, just look at me.
Yeah, a little bit. So, subscribe. Is that right? No. Like, subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah, and comment. So, anyway, thanks very much, guys, and I will speak to you all soon.
Take it easy.
Later, fellas.
Cheers, boys.